So I have a problem, and it's basically, so if you didn't know, my wife and I are expecting a child, and that's really great. It's exciting and everything. And so as soon as we found out, sort of like we wanted to confirm it, but now that we're used to the idea that baby is coming, we wanted to find resources on how to be good, faithful Christians and parents, like so that we could be parents that are informed by Scripture and that prioritize the truth of the gospel and things as we're parenting. That's what we were looking for. And we went through Barnes and Noble, their book sections, their Christian book sections, their everything. Like, we went through those places. We went through Amazon. We went through all this stuff. And simply, out of all those multitude of published works that we examined, none of them were that. There was secular parenting books, and there was Christian, honestly, if I can be really frank, there's Christian paganism, books that were enneagrams, how to minister to, or how to parent your growing Aquarius, like stuff like that. And it really kind of showed me a problem, which this is something I've kind of been aware of. Parents have talked to me as a youth pastor and stuff. They've talked to me about how they didn't know what they were doing and they didn't know where to go. And I gave them kind of the general stuff. I mean, we'll go to the Bible, right? And I mean, it's true that the Bible has instructions on how to manage money. Dave Ramsey built his thing off of that idea. And that there is stuff in there for how to manage a business well and how to steward relationships well. There's all that is in the Bible. But if you don't know how to navigate the Bible, you're not super familiar with it, you're not going to be very attuned to how to find those passages effectively, I guess, is kind of what I'm getting at. And so it makes it frustrating and it makes it discouraging to do so. And so now we're in that same boat all of a sudden. We're looking for resources and we can't find anything. So if you know resources, I would love to see them. And the other thing is, like, if you're an author, you're a pastor, you're anything like that, and you got a pen in your hand, we need to start getting busy writing stuff of, like, this is the gospel, this is how to parent with it. But we did manage to find 1.5 resources. And the reason I say one is there's a book and then a devotional that attaches to that book. My guy named Gary Thomas, this is the devotional, the original hasn't shown up yet. And he's amazing. He's a great guy. Like, his resources on dating and marriage have been super helpful for us already in our relationship. So he was an obvious kind of go-to for us to kind of look for to begin with. But out of the hundreds of thousands of Christian books that have been published just in probably like the last 10 years, the hundreds of thousands of books in general, we found one and a devotional companion. That's it. That's a problem. That's an issue. That's a severe problem for Christians, that they want to love God in the way they parent. Not just love God, not just parent well, not just grow like moralistic deists, not any of that, but literally they want to love God with the way they parent. And there's just no resources for that out there, except for this. Like, there's not a lot out there. So we need to start creating those materials clearly, quickly, as fast as possible. And I think that this might actually be kind of the lower drawbridge of how progressive and liberal theologies and ideologies and philosophies have been infiltrating the Christian community. Because a person wants to learn more about, let's say, how to, like, justice in our community, and Christians don't really, they either evade or ignore those issues. They don't want to address them because they're honestly, they don't want to write the book on it because they're afraid of the blowback. And so simply these Christians, maybe, that they are well-meaning, they want to learn more about it, the only sources they have available are to go outside the church for it. So they go to, let's say, Killer Mike, to T.I., to general rap music, to whatever mainstream media is feeding them, and that ends it, as they're kind of drinking that in, it gives them at the same time this antithetical theology, a theology that is either idolatrous or maybe it's just pure paganism or various other, like this fake non-Christian theology that undergirds it, and they just swallow that down with it. They don't realize it, and that ends up shaping their view of Scripture, that ends up shaping their view of Christianity and of God, and before they know it, they're rejecting biblical truth, and doing so simply because maybe they don't really know better, because they don't know what the biblical truth is. They're just rejecting the caricatures of what the world is giving them about it. But on the other hand, maybe it exposes them that they were moralistic deists to begin with. But this is kind of what I'm seeing, I think, out there in the community and out there in society. So we need to shore up this kind of boundary in Christendom and kind of strengthen that so that we can begin to encourage and strengthen parents in a biblically sound way, rather than just go do whatever your child psychologist tells you to do, or what your school psychologist or your public school, whoever it is, counselor is telling you to do, and throw in a verse at the same time and hope it goes well. And make sure your kid is here for youth group. Right, because that's always part of, like, we want to make sure we're selling our Christian programming to them regardless of where their theology is coming from.